We're live, 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 live. Right. Here we go. Go live, go live. So, two. What's up, folks? Okay, let me swap over here. How's it going? It is freaking it's been a lot. It's been a lot getting everything organized. I mean, it's cleaning and moving and all sorts of stuff. Yo, what's up, Gronk? What's up, Astry? No more soccer brawls. I haven't played. I've been injured. I literally haven't played soccer in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Did something to my glute that was kind of wrapping around to my hip. And then my knee's been pretty bad. And I haven't really been resting it because I've been moving furniture and dragging furniture and yeah. So I haven't done a good job of resting things. So Boomer Smooth. Wow. Just on her own mechanic. What's up, Vlad? What's up, Kevo? Webbers. But yeah, things are coming together. I got this shelf back here that has all this a ton of like TTRPG stuff. I set up behind the chat. There's a whole second desk here. I've got minis and stuff on it right now. I still need to paint this wall. Part of it is still just like sanded down drywall and whatnot, but it's coming together. It's coming together. What is... Okay, I think I got everything. Posted Discord, did all that. Yo, what's up? Yeah, it is. So, how are we feeling about everything, guys? Sallowlands and all that jazz. What's up, Double? I'm also curious. I changed some camera settings as well. So hopefully things are better in that regard. But also, I changed the location of my other monitors, so now I'll look this way instead of this way when I'm looking at other stuff. So just a fun fact for you. Just some fun facts for you. I really enjoy this group. Yeah, I think the characters are really cool. I think in general, we've seen some pretty dope characters. I thoroughly enjoyed Mercy. I think Mercy was a really cool character. Abu Bakar is just crushing it in the sort of acting. You know, like the voice and just all of that stuff has been superb. Just super duper good. We only got Kagwama towards the end, but also quite unique. Thoroughly enjoyed that whole thing of like this super nervous tortoise, and their voice as well is quite good. Dylan has some fun stuff, so yeah, it's been cool. Interested to see how they bring an undead mushroom into town without people freaking out. Yeah, well, I mean, the one guy trusts him, and they said, "Yeah, no, we're not that." AKA says, "I like it so far." I was there. What do you mean, Calator, the mechanic? Like you were in London or England, or she's here, or you were like FaceTiming? I'm joining the group for the season. Mercy is great. I like Kagwama a lot. They're all doing a solid job so far. Yeah. The judge from Blood Meridian seems to be inspiration for Matt's bad guy from the first episode. Which bad guy? Like the bounty hunter? The bounty hunters. That whole group was very like, maybe think like Mad Max, like crazy people. But it was fun. I did enjoy that. Touch faster. Yeah, no. Mercy is bottom right. Top right is Dilwyn. Video calling. Okay, got it. But yeah. Sallowlands have been solid so far. It's cool to see Daggerheart run by the creators. Characters are pretty good overall, and the system supports playstyle. Not sure it's my cup of tea. Yeah, so I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to do my best to enjoy it. I'm still not personally sold on Daggerheart. I'm open to it. I'm watching it. I'm willing to kind of figure out how I feel long term, where it's, you know, all that sort of stuff. Part of it is unfamiliarity, where it's like, oh, I don't know, you know, what this stuff is. So some of it is just, you know, that change. So I'm willing to accept that, like, yeah. I don't think she lives in London. That's why I corrected myself. I said England. I know where she lives, Isle of Wight. Let's see. Carried the massive crux. Okay, yeah. Big fan of that. He did really well with him. I would have liked if they explained the importance of pyres again for newer viewers, like having to roll when resting away from pyre. Yeah, so I actually tried to communicate some of that in my recap, but I really basically just said it's like the safe place. Like it offers protection. I probably could have looked into it and figured out like you have to be there if you want like an easier rest and stuff like that. So I could have probably done a little bit better explaining that, but I did try. What's up, Austin John on TikTok? What's up, dude? Hey, what's up, Stephanie? The legendary bird was a nasty creature, very much so. Very much so. It also it's an interesting thing because they ran from like the first two fights, then the next group ran from them by the end of it, and then the bird guy they convinced to fly away. So it was like a lot of not complete combats in a way. Like, yeah, those still count, but like there was just a lot of different, you know, like let's just get away, let's not fight, let's not, you know. Yeah. Smart lighting for effects and speakers for sound effects. I have a little like Bluetooth speaker I set up on the table, Mr. Fish. I posted some new pictures in the Discord. I know I didn't make an updated video, but that room has changed quite a bit. Like the D&D room has changed quite a bit since. I'm not sure it's my cup of tea for an actual play either. I watched a few one-shots using Daggerheart, so I feel a bit more comfortable with mechanics. That's valid. Is the vibe similar to the previous Umbra? I'm way behind anything CR. Daniel answers, the vibe is that of a bleak god abandoned nightmare world. So yes, yeah. I mean, it's definitely very dark. And it's kind of tough because I was like excited to get Matt as a DM again, like get that, and then he's like in that like somber world of like Umbra, and so it's not as much of the Matt that I wanted, you know, but it's still fine. Any tips or advice for starting your first D&D session this weekend? Are you a player or a dungeon master? Either way, have fun, don't stress it, learn as you go, all that sort of stuff. I feel like the damage system contorts itself to not have D&D hit points, but kind of still has them in a weird way. It feels like a lot of work for not much gain system-wise. Yeah, I mean, there are other games that also use like an armor system where you can like use an armor to stop stuff, but then it's like normally, I don't know, because there's like damage threshold. Again, I don't fully understand. I know it's like damage thresholds that you have, and then you can use an armor to lower the threshold that it hit. So if it hit like threshold 2, which is what, like major, like minor, major, severe, or something like that, then you could drop it to a minor, so you'd only mark off, you know. But I agree, it is kind of convoluted because you're like, why not just do some hit points, or like be like you have this many bars and then it's just a matter of how many bars are they hitting you for. You can drop it by one if you use an armor, right? Instead of like this, but you know, it is. But again, I don't know. So because I'm unfamiliar, it makes it a little tougher to try to figure it out as I go. Old role player. This is all a new system shift like Shadowrun, Rifts, D&D, and Rifts. I'm not as familiar with. I've done a game of Shadowrun, and of course I played D&D. Let's talk about Critical Role. Your recap video is good. If you don't watch first AOU, then most. No, I agree with you. AK, I was just saying I tried to touch on that. Player, my only experience is just watching Critical Role BG3. Well, don't expect it to be that. I will say. Oh, don't forget to set a goal for super chats. Thanks for mentioning that, because Gen Con is around the corner, and I am definitely trying to do that. Also, Mr. Fish, I don't know if you know this, but you are currently in the vertical chat, and of course I have my horizontal one, so you can jump over and do that. Yeah, don't expect it. I mean, it depends on the group, but I wouldn't expect it to be that level of role playing stuff, but it'll be fun. Just don't stress it. Daggerheart is super easy to set up and start running. People use it for quick one shots in the when the pains change last minute and such, or plans change. Don't worry about having every rule memorized before the first game. Sure. Oh, you're talking about for helping that person. Yes. It's also really good for the first time GMs to focus on cool aspects of gymming and not. Oh my god. Hey, thanks. 7 months. That's kind of crazy, Daniel. It doesn't feel like I've been doing all this for 7, like Critical Role coverage for 7 months, but it says member for 7 months. Thanks, Daniel, for re-upping. It's also really cool for the get rules right balance with the game. Don't forget to set or did that. 2 thresholds. Below 1 equals 1 HP, above 1 equals 2 HP, above 3 equals 4 HP. So no one gets 1 shot. That's valid. Hey, Daniel, thank you for the $2 or $20 super chat. Funds for Gen Con. Appreciate it. Thank you. That will certainly help, and it'll go towards it. I'll tell you that. Appreciate that. What's up, Bull? I'm running a Shadowrun 3rd edition game and just crossed over into Earthdawn 1st edition. Ooh. You're all over the place with it. I support that. I've been putting in the time. True. What's up, David? Yeah, so I am intrigued by this. I think the cast has been doing a great job. I know somebody in the chat earlier said that Kagwama could probably speak faster. I watched the whole thing at 2x speed. So to me, it wasn't super slow, but also it probably is if you're not on 2x speed. I did that because I was so far behind. But it was enjoyable, but you know, it is like if you're not up for the this is just grim. You know, like everything is dark and whatever. And I said this in a video I put out last night, like a short, that I think there have been enough jokes and things like that, whether above table or not, enough sort of excitement when a roll is had, that has added a little bit of the levity that I think I need. Because, again, it's tough when you have only 6 episodes to build that connection, because right now we just, again, when you jump in and like you're already with the group and you don't really know anything about their past or anything like that, it's just tough, you know. So I don't feel super connected to them because I don't know much about their characters, you know. Did you watch the first one? No. There were some players I can't stand right now, but hopefully go. Really interesting. Vigo did deliver lines rather slowly, but then Kawhi. Exactly. So it's like, but when you're doing an actual play, that's something you kind of have to think about. Is like, yes, this is a great role play thing for this character, but also, is it a great deliverable. You know, like that's something you do have to kind of consider is like, this fits the character, this does whatever, you know, I'm a nervous turtle. Again, I love it, but I didn't notice if it was like ridiculously slow because I was on 2x speed. I didn't watch the first one, but feeling like it might help to go back and watch it to learn about the setting. Maybe. I don't, again, having not watched it, I don't know how much was provided in that in terms of like real background. Yeah. A background for everyone in a short series. Exactly. Exactly. What up, Jay? And it is the second one. It is Steven with a V. But I agree with you, Daniel. Like it's tough when you're doing a mini series. You just kind of have to go with it. Same way, like when we were watching Dungeon Masters, and you jump in, and it's like, oh, there's history here, and there's this stuff here, and we don't know any of it. But like we're going to randomly learn bits and pieces by like episode 3 or 4. You know. Okay. I mean, overall, it was still enjoyable. I wish I would have watched it more on time, because again, I didn't get my recap out till freaking like Tuesday. So that did not do very well. I did, for campaign 4, I did write out my tier list today. So I will get a video going over my post-convergence tier list within the next day or two. Now that stuff is starting to settle down, furniture is moved, rooms are set up, things are cleaned, more furniture is moved, more things were purchased to fill the spaces to do. Now things are starting to settle down, and I can start to do some content again, because I barely did anything content related for the last like 5 days. Loki says, depends on the party or the campaign or what you're trying to do, whether it's your own thing or a campaign. I think it's going to be more focused on the world rather than the characters. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely getting that vibe. Yeah, Pico, 100%. I didn't like the bird encounter ending with Kagwama going touchy-feely, but the way the RP played ended up pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I understood the swing. It definitely seems like they're that character's sort of personality. And to be like, and it was set up. At one point, this bird was this like beautiful, wise creature. And so it's like, hey, maybe I can bring some of that forth. So that kind of did make sense for why they would do that, in my opinion. What's up, Piratey Steve? Daniel says, one thing I like about season 2 of Dungeon Masters is that they don't assume the characters have much of a shared past. They're being thrown together more or less for the first time. Yes. Yeah, I think that helps. I think that I would say this one, I think I said it in the watch party for the first 2 episodes. This one has started better than the other one did, for sure. Yeah. And I think people are more comfortable on their characters now. It could have been the setting Ravenloft, but they feel more comfortable with this. Double says, we got a lot more of the world lore in the first one because Marisha's character was a pyre keeper. Ah, okay. David says, it's fun and good way to get through the summer so far. Just hoping I click more with the characters. Totally valid. It's also kind of tough, because to me, it's somewhat harder to connect because they're not standard, like, I don't have the experience, right? I have the experience playing a dwarf. I have the experience playing an elf or a half elf, a human. And then it's like, I don't have the experience playing an undead, massive fungal. I don't have, like, they're all these like creatures, these monsters, these what. And so like, there's that little bit of separation. Yeah. With those characters. Are we going to do a live where we vote players into tiers again? We could certainly. Yeah, I could do a thing where everybody votes. Yeah. Could do that again. I enjoyed it despite not being a Grimdark fan. However, I do worry that the turtle is going to get on my nerves. Great character, but it grates on me. Multiple people have said that now. Somebody left a comment. I think, yeah. There he is, right there. Steven said that in one of in the comment on the video that just said like between Mercy and Kagwama, they were both talking slow, and that was getting old. I watched it on 2x speed, and I was loving Mercy, and I enjoyed the personality of Kagwama, but I wasn't having to deal with the speed as much in terms of that. Party Steve says no watch forever Dungeon Masters last night. Was that a one-time thing or the new norm going forward? So I posted in the Discord. I had a D&D game last night. So the D&D game ran to just about 9:30, and then it's like saying goodbye, saying, you know, whatever, chatting a little bit. And next thing you know, it was 10-15 minutes past, and I was like, I can't start it now. So I don't know that that's the norm going forward, but also I'm not exceptionally tied to those because they don't do very well. And it's a commitment for me. Like, I can't watch it later. I have to watch it then and commit, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours because of I started early to do it for maybe 20 viewers across, you know, it's tough. Same thing with like Age of Umbra right now. The first one did well. We had like 100 to 150. If this stays at this pace, it's going to be harder to be like, I'm going to go commit 2 hours before it, 3 hours, like I'm giving a 5-hour block of my day for minimum. You know, like I have to think those things. The other thing, so I'm going to give Recap another shot. But if it does as poorly as it did this time, it's not that I don't want to do the work for that. It's that it makes the channel look bad and could hurt my opportunities. Right? So like the video before that one did 15,000. The video before that one did 30,000. The video before that one did 10,000 or whatever. And then that one did 1,000. And so if a company goes to my page and see, oh, his last 3-4 videos, because I cover Age of Umbra every week, are 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, I'm not getting opportunities. So if I stop doing Umbra recaps, just know it's because I have to, like, you know, like I'm not trying to screw my life just to get a recap out on a mini series. So, and I'll say something if I end up not doing it again, but I'm going to give it another shot. I'm going to get it out earlier. But if there's a correlation between like pre-show views and interest in a recap, then it's probably going to do bad, and I'm probably not going to do another one. I know you guys didn't ask for that, but I'm explaining. It's a nice episode. Great show last week. Heck yeah. What's up, Better Stance? I don't, what is that? I haven't had DC watch party. DC. What is DC? Why am I, well, am I dumb? I just hope a couple of the characters just speak. Okay, I already talked about that. I think we will learn more about the world as a group engaged in more NPCs. 100%. We'll probably learn more with the Templars that we're meeting. I have failed to make it through the first episode of Age of Umbra. I will dig in and have another go. Of Sallowlands, totally valid. Most people did that. I also, when I first started, I didn't finish it in my first go. Other people said the same thing. So that is interesting. Yeah. Well, I did the one before. Right, I didn't do for the Cthulhu thing. Like I stopped for the like short Cthulhu thing, but then I did the first two, like the premiere. I just didn't do last night. But interesting, I didn't know people in the chat were saying that. Kept thinking about that Billy Madison scene. Today, Junior, I'm biased with Souls-like in general, and I love loving the setup and characters. Valid, totally valid. Oh, it said in the OG Session 0 vid that species are changed or altered by the Umbra. I'm not sure if it's cosmetic changes only or if it changes stats. Oh. Vlad's not a spoiler. The first season was all about the pyres and how they function. Also, what could happen when it gets destroyed. Since the pyre needs an ancient tree that no longer exists in the world to be started, some branches are kept as relics and the locations of them are kept as secrets. There are so many goofy races to pick for Daggerheart. I understand everyone wants to make something original, but they are put in this setting with like 99% humans. It takes me out of it. Well, is it just like the characters are all weird, but all the NPCs are humans? Like, is that normal for Age of Umbra, or? YouTube algo is ruthless with rankings. It's not necessarily the algorithm. Like, I'm not worried about the algorithm. It's that, again, I'm going to go for a sponsorship and the company's going to look and go, oh, well, dude, you get 1,000 views a video. And it's like, no. Like, I'm telling you, like, go back 5 videos when I was covering other stuff like Critical Role. It's way better. It's just like, I have to create content where there's an audience. And right now it's just like with Dungeon Masters. I would do pre-shows every week. I did a video covering it. There's not enough interest to keep like putting in the stuff. And right now it's looking like Age of Umbra isn't either. So it's difficult to consider this because there's a lot. I'm also bored. I'm also not explaining. Yeah, I have no idea. I tend to go for speculation videos over recaps because I already watched the episode, which is 100%. 100%. I do the recaps. They do well. People find them helpful. But I also, again, with Critical Role, typically post like, here's the thought. Here's this. Here's how I feel about that. This means this. Here's some answers we got. I have 2 videos planned. One is my tier list for post-convergence. And then I also have one talking about one of the things that Brennan does that I love. Double screening to hop in chat. Phone is dead, but I'm finally home in time to vibe with Nerd with actual air conditioning. Let's go. Actual air conditioning. Love that. What would you put out instead, or is it just better for your channel to not put out anything at all over AOU recaps? I mean, I could try other stuff. Again, I'm going to post something with the tier list. I'm going to post something, Campaign 4 tier list. I'm going to post something, another 1 or 2 probably related to Campaign 4, for sure. But it's just, I can't keep putting videos on my page that get 1,000 views or less. I mean, I could, but again, I can start to get better opportunities from brands if they go to my page and go, oh, dude, the last 10 videos this guy posted averaged 13,000 views, versus like, oh, they averaged 1,000. So I just got to think about that stuff. Weber says, hit the like button, folks. That helps get it pushed out and gets more people involved if you want more content. Heck yeah. Click that thumbs up button. Because to me, it's similar in that we did an Age of Umbra Sallowlands pre-show last week, and we got like 120, 130, 100, whatever it was. And this is just a week later, and it's like, it's like they have to ignore Pariah in a world where it exists just because the player base just shows that, if that makes sense. Yeah, people want OG cast for the most part. It's always been their biggest challenge. The characters and settings don't help with general interest either. I've said that a bajillion times. Same thing with Beacon, where like they've hired and gotten these other things like the Azarim thing with Viva La Dirt League, and they got Stinky Dragon, which I think is leaving the platform, and then they also had Unend. There's a bunch of them where it's like, oh, the recent one with the draw your weapon. I don't think any of them do even remotely close to the level because people want the cast. I've said like that is the Critical Role's biggest problem, is that people only want Critical Role. And I don't mean, like, when I say people, I mean the majority. I don't mean everyone, because I know there are some people who are like, oh, I watched this or I watched that. The most of the people want to watch those people. It was built on a culture, a somewhat parasocial culture. And so that's separated, and that makes it difficult. Hello, I'm Jonathan on Twitch. The players want to try out some unusual combinations to test them and to try out new classes from the expansion. Yeah, yeah, it shows off some of that stuff, lets people mess around with stuff. I agree with that. Um, Astri, what theory videos have you been watching? I'd be curious to see. I haven't seen any like popping up in my feed about stuff, but you know, I could be inspired or like share my thoughts on some of them if I saw them. So people brought that up before, Scott. A speculation video about what Travis might play next would be interesting. It would be completely made up, which I know that's speculation, but like I have my whole case would go, I think he's going to play something that does attacks like melee. I think he's going to play like a melee character. I don't think he's going to play a caster. That'd be all I have, because other than that, we're not basing it on anything. You know, like you could narrow it down and say like, well, he's played this before, and he's played a barbarian before, and he's played a, so maybe he'll play a monk, you know. But I don't know. I don't know. Daniel, thank you for the $5 super chat. What are we looking for in tonight's episode? More world lore, combat, character background, all of the above. I think all of the above. It's cool that there's been as many like combat scenarios as there has been, but like I said earlier, none of them really came to like a finite conclusion. It was like run from the bear creature in the woods, get out, fight the things, they run away. Get out, fight the things, make that thing flee. Run away from that thing, right? Like it's just kind of like they're all not full combat. Like I don't know, and I get it. It's a dangerous world. Like that old school D&D was like, don't fight stuff. Try to avoid fighting stuff. Just collect gold, level up, become more powerful. But yeah. Did you do a recap? I did. I did. I think it's pretty short too, because the 3-hour episodes, and there's a decent amount of it that's combat, and even like combats don't feel like combats, if that makes sense. Again, partially it's just that my brain is like conditioned to like one way, but it really, I was like, this doesn't feel like like this doesn't feel like combat. Yeah, it's only 8.5 minutes. Rubber Room, and that includes me saying we're about to recap, and then at the end where I go, please subscribe. All that's in there. I don't even know what. Wait, first, long time no see. True, Jonathan. I mean, that's in general with Twitch and stuff. Sorry, a lot of the chat is over on YouTube. I don't know what any of those things are you just named. I think I maybe saw the words "draw your weapon" once, though. Yeah, that's their latest one that they had put out with Titmouse. I don't mind new people, but they've got to be good, and I've got to like them. I like about half the AOU cast. That's not bad since there's only one OG player. It's interesting. So we also had David, right, who said you didn't. I feel like we haven't gotten enough to really know if we like these people or not. To me, it's like each character is unique. Each, like, I feel like we've gotten barely any of Zach's character, Alphonse. I think we've gotten a decent amount of Dilwyn. Mercy, Laura's character has been kind of more of like the quiet one, I feel like, in a way. And then Kagwama joined towards the end. Like Kagwama wasn't in the first 50%, maybe more. Yeah. So, Jonathan, yeah, you can talk about campaign 4. We've already talked about campaign 4 a couple of times in this, so feel free. It's not so much the people I want; it's a long format campaign of a certain quality and style. That's totally valid. I think for the majority though, it's those people, which is why everything else doesn't do even a fraction. But I would also agree that there are people like you in the sense that, like, even when it's the main cast, but it's like a one-shot sponsor video, people don't, like, they typically do worse because people are like, I don't care. So there's definitely a combination there. Zodiac Bandit did one about Junk Nucks and another about what the Cormorant want, who they even are. Okay. Travis likes werewolves, and I think that has been leading him to pick more animal-like characters lately. Jay Friend says, I didn't plan on watching this campaign, but I need something to listen to and enjoyed it. Really like the stable. Unfortunately, the Die Hard side of it just hasn't added much yet. I kind of agree with that. I like if this was D&D, I think I would be enjoying it more so far. And it's been fine. Like it's been cool. But I think if it was D&D, I'd be liking it more. But again, I'll add in the caveat that is because I'm familiar with D&D, so I know what's happening. That is definitely going to play a role in that. There's some sort of biases and experience within that. Best theory video I've seen was the after death table. Everything else I've seen been news and complaining. Okay. What are we complaining about? Stephanie says, I'd like to see something on how each character has grown, how they changed since they were first introduced. Okay. I don't know if I can do it. I'll have to kind of mull it over, but C4 character growth. I'll add it to my list of video ideas and see. So working on. That's fair. Maybe I'm just not creative enough for that double, but like there's just too many times where like an idea and I'll be like, oh, I don't really have enough to say about it. Like when I think of it, maybe I'm just not good at conspiracy theories or speculation because I go, oh, the joke nucks that the Einfosens are trying to get. I'm going to guess it's related to the Giants, and that's about all I got. Like I can't make a 15-minute video about it. I think it's related to Giants. Like that's end of the video. So yeah, I don't know. Clearly I had to get better at making stuff up. Lore and combat, I'm honestly not too worried about backstory for a short campaign. That's 100% valid. Mr. Fish says, I'm often critical of different kinds of armor, damage, attack roll systems, to be honest. Playing Mouse Guard and its condition change survive entirely, but not always positive. Having lived through Thaco, every time I think about Thaco, I literally sit back and go, how did somebody come to that before just the normal system of roll a die, add a number, hit the number they have? Like, how did somebody get to Thaco before they got to the current D20 system of attack roll or attack bonus? Like, I don't know how they got there first. Every time I think about it, I'm just like, how? What if we went backwards where we needed to add this, to lower to that, to hit that? I'm like, what? I don't know how Thaco was created and why. CR4, they picked some great new people. I've seen them test out others, and only about half of them fit in well. That's valid. I had about the new Vladibook and D&D Beyond. Vladibook? I don't know what we're referencing, Steve. Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about. Does anyone want Travis to roll up a renegade Einfausen character feel like Einfausen right in his wheelhouse? Thoughts? Oh, they're definitely in his wheelhouse, but I don't know more than that. I want him to be from the cloak. I want him to be with the cloak. People are saying they want him to be a monk. A lot of people want him to be a monk. You say Thaco was the goat? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Flurry of paws. A hound monk. I want Travis to be a lizard folk, shadow monk, ninja from that cloak, or whatever the faction's name was. Yeah, the cloak. Do you think the city is a trap? Oh, like all the sparkly stuff in Age of Umbra? No. No, but I haven't really thought anything's ever been a trap ever, so. Take that for what it is. John just means giant ox, so there isn't much more to say about it until we find out more. Well, that's what it's impressive to me when people can make videos like I'm speculating on like what this house is trying to, like what this thing is. And it's like we have nothing. We have literally nothing. And the fact that people can make videos off of it is just so impressive to me. Because I'm just like, I've got nothing to say, you know? Like, are they what we thought they would be? How has the character surprised us? Who let us down? So, but would that not be remaking the tier list video? Because some of that's covered in that. I'm not saying it is, but that's where my mind goes. Like, that's the question that pops out into my head is like, is that not that, you know? Those on a bunch of different theories. Certain magic of displaying a player's system mastery in an actual play that is by necessity lost with the move to more rules light systems. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. But people definitely, people have a different approach because Mr. Malicious, there are a lot of people who watch Critical Role who do not give two poops if they follow a single rule the entire time. And that's a lot of the people who watch Critical Role. So I agree with you. I like that. That's why I was so impressed with Louise as Azune, because he was like cool at getting a good build and figured out, and his role play was excellent. He showed that you could be an excellent role player and also play the game really well and have them intertwined versus you're only doing one. You have to break the rules to do the thing instead of finding a way to do it within the rules, showing the mastery, right? So I agree with you when it comes to that. The city is probably a trap. The nature of the trap might be something unexpected. Yeah, that's viable. There you go. A video on Thaco and Wido's thing, the history of D&D. Your response to Thaco is the only reasonable one. Valid. Really loved Mercy and Badger last week. Really stands out. Characters for very different reasons. Yeah. No, so one, Badger isn't like a character, right? It's Matt playing an NPC Bat, but fair. I also really enjoyed Mercy. That like being able to like stutter in that way, like and have that and the way that he says things, like it's incredible that he's been able to so quickly be like, this is this character. And you know it. It's not like he's feeling it out. You're just like, oh, that's Mercy. Like it's just boom. So Abu Bakar Salim is killing it when it comes to that. He's also crushing it in terms of like smashing in heads and stuff. He's been one of the stronger characters as well. But Badger has been fun. I agree with that. The less people know about Thaco, the better. Valid. It's a way to calculate the number you need to roll in the D20. It grew out of D&D originally having to hit tables. Yeah, no, I guess that to hit tables is kind of it, but also it's just like such a more like silly, complicated thing compared to like, oh, do this, you know, like, oh, it does the same thing, but it's just add this number to hit a number. Yeah. I just like less than a year ago or a year ago played a game where we like did a one shot or a two shot of Thaco, something like that. Like we were playing old school. And yeah, even like knowing how to do it, I was like, this is so stupid. Better Sand says the roleplay was amazing last week. But I feel combat was lacking. It felt a bit like when you were a kid playing make-believe in the schoolyard as opposed to strategic combat. I think that's Daggerheart. Again, I have very limited experience with it, but I feel like that's kind of it. I agree. I also was like, combat didn't feel like combat. You know, like it felt like a narrative experience where people, and it's also so hard to know mechanics when some of the stuff seems like it's made up. Like somebody goes, oh, what are they called, guys who play Daggerheart? Where they go, it's not like, is it a background or an origin or the things that they make up that they like, oh, my character was once a cartographer, so I'm good at drawing maps, and therefore I'm going to give myself a +2 on this skill because I chose this thing. I don't remember what they're called, but if my understanding is correct, like they just make it up. And so when you're watching them play, yeah, experiences, you're going, they're doing what? Because you don't know. That's not like if somebody says, oh, I'm going to activate 2-weapon fighting to add my bonus to second attack. I know what that is. 2-weapon fighting is something that's available for everybody. That's in the book. And then you get that and they're just like, I'm going to use my ability I named myself as a player. I named it Tumbleweed Baller. And so I'm going to do this. And you're like, what is Tumbleweed Baller? I don't know what that means, you know, like, yeah. No, I know that, no, Webbers, I know that they're made when they make the character, but like, we don't know them and they're made up, right? Again, somebody inform me if they're not, but like, is there like a build where you go, oh, basically you make an experience and that experience you can add 2 to something. Is that kind of how it is? Or is it like, no, you could go to your GM and say, this experience is so cool, I get to add 5. And your GM could go, you get to add 5. And everybody else just gets like they just also shoot a random number? Like, is it just like, I think my experience is going to give me a 4. And this other person's like, my experience is going to give me a 1, you know? I don't know. Like, that part just confuses me, especially as an actual play, because you're like, I want to know what's happening, and when you're naming random, well, I have an experience, and it's this, and I have no idea what you're talking about, then it's kind of hard for me to be like, oh, I'm following. If that makes sense. Okay, so it's a flat 2 unless you invest in your experience. Okay. Okay. Well, that's helpful. See, this is what I'm talking about, is like, it's basically adding flavor to a +2 that you want to put somewhere, right? I'm guessing you pick where you're putting it. It's just like, you can choose a +2 and you need to have an experience that gives you that +2. So if you want a +2 in, isn't one of the things called presence? Then you're like, oh, I used to perform in the theater. That's your experience. And now you have a +2, right? Is that how that works? There are rules, you got to learn them. No, again, I'm with that. But as a viewer, it's still kind of like, oh, you know? Experience depending on your character progression adds to, okay. Got it. All right, well, yeah, it makes more sense. Makes more sense. Cost to hope to use, all right. Age of Umbra is a huge ad for Daggerheart, sure, but they also, like, I still think that they want, like, these people, like, I think Matt wants to play it, like, all that stuff. I don't think it's just out of that. All right, let me catch up on the chat. I felt the same about Daggerheart after the first Age of Umbra, but after DMing it for 17 sessions, fully love it now. Monks don't make sense. Spinning tornado kick. Oh crap! Just got my leg taken off by an axe. Just got torched by a fireball. Some of the videos that people put out don't tell us anything. One channel did a video on the new D20 trailer, and it told me absolutely nothing that wasn't already in the trailer. Why make that? For views. I've had people call me out for that at least once before, and I thought I added stuff. Sometimes, like, as a creator, you're like, oh well, I said this or added that. Like, I didn't just play the trailer, you know. And I thought I added enough, and some people agreed, and there were a couple people who were like, you added no substance to this. You know, I thought I did, but you know, not everybody. So that might be it, is that you're like, well, I knew all of this already, or it told me, but like maybe, or yeah, it's people, they're just trying to get the views. What's up, Monday? Louise and Brendan doing the contested role segment about Rolo Cool is a great conversation. Oh, I need to check that out then. That's valid, yet it is. The Mr. Fish saying, in regards to D&D making better watching, I think partly core roleplay manipulation, exposition skills. The way community plays these is established meta and good for streaming, investigation, persuasion, precision. Yeah. You could do your C4 character tier list video, then do character recaps that go over what happened to each character and give your thoughts on what your future is. Yeah, I thought about that. So doing one massive, like, here's a recap of everything up until this point is just too daunting for me. But if I was doing like individual character sort of recaps of like, here's where this person started, here's where they are. So if they were with the schemers, I'm only talking about the schemers until they, right? Like I start with them in the overture, then I talk about them in the schemers, and then I talk about them in the conversions, and just kind of like what they did. So it's like the story of Murray so far, and go over the Murray thing. The story of Octus so far, and go over Octus's story, right? Like those sorts of things. I could maybe do something like that to bring it down. Let me add that to my Trello board. All right. Going past all that. What's up, Edwin? What's up, Bound Bob? They're supposed to explain why the experience can be used. Yeah. Yeah, I understood that part of like, how would this impact that? I like the concept. There are similar to other TTRPGs. It just might not be the best implementation. Daggerheart book gives a list of examples of experiences that could be used, but they aren't limited to that. Yeah. Yeah. Can't please everyone. Totally valid, Bone Dragon. Totally valid. Yeah, I think Matt wanted a more narrative-based game that doesn't get us bogged down with the math. For the experiences, I just think of it as spending hope to add two to a roll. The rest is flavored. So Marisha had one in Christmas called I've Lived Overseas. She used that experience to try and get info on a German ferry. Okay. I think there's a chance we will get a death table. I've heard other creators theorize. As in campaign 4, is there going to be a whole table of people who are dead? No. Hello there. Talk about the different themes and Easter eggs in CR4, like the ongoing Peter Pan references. The rules make sense. It's just the built-in floatiness of it all that makes watching an actual play would feel unintuitive for me personally. Playing maybe a whole different story. Yeah, again, it's interesting. I saw somebody comment this, and I don't feel strongly in any real way about it because I'm still not as familiar with it and all that sort of jazz. But I saw somebody else say that it's like it's funny that they made a game that was meant to be more narrative, more whatever, but is not good as an actual play. Like it's like it is the game that allows that style of play while also not being great for watching, which is what they do. I'm not saying that I take that stance, but it was just a stance I saw. Yeah. I'd be curious to see the Age of Umbra numbers though, because it already feels like there's been a substantial fall off for Age of Umbra, which is, sucky because again, it was enjoyable enough for me. Um, I was about that life. I'll be watching it moving forward. Also, if you guys haven't already, click that thumbs up button down below the video. So, who is everybody's favorite character so far? Type your favorite character in Age of Umbra Sallowlands so far. Honestly, like having initiative. Some of the Daggerheart shows they have done, they seem to talk over everyone waited to see what was going. Oh, I agree. The everybody can just go when they want to go is no. I don't. I'm not a believer in that personally. It also doesn't really make sense with the flow of stuff because like if this person can go and do whatever, sorry, I got to ban another person trying to sell art in the Discord. I think I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, the initiative thing. Yeah. You'll have somebody where like somebody's done 2 things or 3 or like done these crazy stuff. And it's like, so what has that guy been doing? He just been standing there the whole time this stuff happened? Like all these other people have done stuff and then done, and some of them are like elaborate. Like they do these and there's combinations and there's whatever. Then they go again and then that person finally goes and it's like, yeah. The lack of it. Yeah, I agree. I think initiative. I think some sort of order to that would be good. Dragon Drake's Badger. Metal Star says Alphonse. Really? I feel like we haven't, like, Alphonse is the one person we've barely gotten anything out of. For what it's worth, YouTube views for the first episode are around 245K. That's approximately half of what they usually get in a normal episode. Yeah. And I feel like right now it's looking like this one's going to be lower because, again, we had double the viewership in the pre-show last week. Maybe a grimdark setting needs a grimdark system. Maybe a more classic fantasy narrative would have been better for Daggerheart. Maybe, yeah. Mercy has been super cool. I agree. I think Mercy and Dilwyn are probably towards the top, and then Kagwama, and then it's probably at the bottom for Sister and Alphonse so far. I think part of the problem is grimdark setting, and everybody likes grimdark. I know people that hear grimdark and are just out. Valid. Theater Bird, when you say Dilbert, are we talking about Dilwyn? I'm assuming, because Dill. Daggerheart tries to be both a narrative game and a tactical combat RPG. Not sure yet if it does either, both or none. I had to say Mercy is number 1 for me, Kagwama second. Yeah, Mercy is definitely number 1 for me as well. AK says Mercy, Big Dog says Mercy. I have to say Mercy. The lack of turn order is weird. Yeah, I like Alphonse Brute the best so far. So it's a good job that C4 didn't use Daggerheart. I think that was the right call, 100%. I do. I think C4 would have had a massive fall off had they done Daggerheart. That's not to say it's not a successful game and it's not like loved and whatever, but I do think they would have seen a big fall off. The spotlight mechanic takes some getting used to. Yeah. And I've heard people say this, again, I don't have experience, that you fall into a thing where, like, if you just get unlucky with rolls, like, it feels like Daggerheart is more RNG based. Like, if you keep rolling with fear, you're just going to lose, or your DM has to literally just start fudging or not playing smart, right? Like, if you keep rolling with fear, you lose the game, like, point blank, unless the DM chooses to be like, oh, they're just not gonna do the smart thing, or they're just gonna whatever, because yeah. Same other happens with initiative too, but it doesn't in the same way, because they're all going in that one turn. And so it's a matter of you're acting first, but it's not like you act and then the next person acts actually, right? It's a 6-second window in which everybody acts, and that 1 6 seconds is just this person acted first. So they're not sitting there. What I'm talking about is, like, these people do all these things, and it can go to where it would be like 10 seconds of real time, 15 seconds of game time, 20 seconds of game time. This person running across and jumping here and doing this, and then that person goes, and then that person goes, and then it goes back, and this person does this, and that, the third, and then that person goes. And you're like, so what were they doing the whole time that those people did all of that stuff, and then they went again, and then they did something, and like, that's where it's like, you just imagine a character's like freeze framed in the back, and that's, so I don't know. What's up, Jay? We rest your show. Hey, peace out, Webbers. Can't pick a fave. Well, come on, Erilyn. This is great when they're not doing a monologue. I didn't feel like they had that many. I'm a Mercy fan. I feel like everybody in here is a Mercy fan. I didn't think that they went on, Mercy went on a lot of monologuing. Also, the opinion that Badger falls short compared to Trinket and Wolfric. Valid. I mean, again, barely seeing any. The guy with the rifle is my favorite. That's Alphonse. I remember the first Umbra, I had to stop the episode to take a break. They rolled with so much fear, the bad guys just kept taking the spotlight so much that the players never got to go. Yeah, so when I was at the live show, the Indianapolis live show, and they were doing like the 3 DMs thing with Jeremy Crawford and whatnot, like, it got kind of bad. I was just like, yo, that person hasn't gone in like 30 minutes of real time. Legitimately. Like, that person, if people have to, like, if the DM has to be like, hey, did you want to do something to like take over for the fact that that person's not doing it, then it's like, you could just have a system that makes sure they do something, instead of it being like, oh, they have to speak up and like overtake somebody else in order to get the shot, you know? Like, that's my main thing, is I feel like initiative just solves so many problems. Taking it away, it's just like, the gains don't outweigh what you lose, in my opinion, with not having an initiative. There's a fairness to it. There's an order to it. There's something you can depend on with it. Like, I just think it's better. Yeah. Hold on, I missed some stuff. I DM Daggerheart fear rolls are not always used immediately. Yeah, but I'm saying is, like, those things can be, and then it's just like, there's just that RNG that feels like it takes like, again, your DM has to choose to not do the thing, which is then like, oh, I don't know. It's an odd thing where, like, you give a mechanic that allows the GM to take over, or, you know, whatever it is, and then you're just like, oh, well, they just have to just not do it, because otherwise they just win, right? And you can't just win in D&D unless you have overdone the thing, right? Like, the best example or comparison for me for that is creatures that have like a breath weapon and it recharges on a 5 or a 6. Fear is like, oh, I rolled a 6 again. Next turn, oh, I rolled a 6 again. Next turn, oh, I rolled a 6 again. And you breath weapon. Right? Like, that's fear, basically, right? Is that you can just be like, Yeah, I got a bunch of fear. Oh, you roll a fear, I beat you in the face. I beat you in the face, right? Like, and so just that bad luck of fear can lead to just boom, you know. Um, I don't know. I guess the difference, because I hear what you're saying, with the like layer actions or legendary actions, those are limited, right? Like one, you only get a certain number of them. Two, they can only be taken after a player has gone. Right, you can't be like, I continue my spot, I continue this, I use the fear to continue my spot, to continue mine, and then like they roll fear on their very next roll. You're like, back to me, I keep doing it again, and I keep doing, oh, back fear, I do it again, and I do it right. Like that's not how that system works with layers and whatever. There are limitations. You have to do them after players, so you can't like stack things in a row. Those sorts of things. Yeah, exactly. They can spin fear to just take their turn. Um, So that's where it's like, again, you're basically just saying the GM has to be nice to you. The GM has to choose to not do the smart, if they were like, it's not a, again, it's not a us versus them game. It's not a GM versus players. But if any GM could just be like, yeah, I'm gonna win this. You know what I'm saying? Like I can do that. And so yeah. There are limitations. That mechanic Matt used to go twice, I felt was wrong. Okay. Um, and again, I'm being like very passionate, whatever about this. Just know I am not that informed. So you can say like that's not how that works actually. That like that you have the mechanic wrong, happy to hear it. This is just my interpretation so far where I'm a little like, whoa, this feels like, you know. Party Steve said with the Daggerheart lack of initiative, it can be a problem if you have newer Shire players. Again, it then puts somebody has to like step up and be like, did you want to do something? When initiative would just solve that. My players all get a chance to voice their actions or tag teams before I use Fear to Spotlight. Lemon's mom says, I love the tag team ability though, and not waiting for someone to figure out what they're doing. I also think the tag team thing is cool. I think some of the aid stuff can be cool, like spend a hope to add. Like there are aspects to it. So let me just say some of the positives here. Tag team is pretty rad. Like that is a cool mechanic to be able to do that sort of stuff. I think the whole hope aid thing is not as cool as tag team, but it's a unique sort of element. I don't think you need both that and the help action. So like in D&D, I don't know which one I'd prefer. Um, but yeah. And yes, Jimmy the Saint, this is episode 2 coming up. Does everyone get to act in Daggerheart combat? It's just an order that is spotlight driven, or can someone who isn't vocalist miss out? They would miss out. But again, that's like where like I've seen it where the game master basically like looks at players like, hey, did you want to do this? Because they have to take it upon themselves to be like, did you, everybody else has kind of done stuff and that person's gone twice and that person's about to go a second time, like, do you want to do something? And that to me is like, why even have that versus just like, no, everybody gets their chance. Because as somebody else had pointed out, it's going to fall in the direction of those who are more table dominant and the other way. So at a table where everybody's very like open and like fair and want each other to play and all that stuff, then I'm sure it works perfect. But it's like if your game works in perfect scenarios but not necessarily others, then it's like no. You can use initiative in Daggerheart. Yeah, I thought I'd heard something like that too, Weber's. Like you can use initiative if you want to. My wife is really introverted and teach RPGs. If she had to speak up for herself and possibly talk over someone else to do something in combat, she would simply never go. Yeah. Does rolling with fear have a limit? Not that I'm aware of, Mickles, but I'm not an expert. Use fear. Well, you don't accumulate fear as a player, Jay. System prevents that level of RNG. It's nowhere near as swingy as a D20. Yeah, isn't that partially why why they did like the GM still rolls a D20, but the others, like the players, roll 2D12s? Most adversaries have limits on the amount of activation. Oh, see, that would be helpful with that. Party Steve says in regards to fear, but Daggerheart is supposed to be more of a collaborative effort. The GM has to know when not to use dice rolls to ruin the game. Players can combine attacks and altogether add up buffs and abilities, so those combos are super OP, severe damage almost every time. It's easy for a level 1 party in D&D to be wiped, and it's impossible to kill level 16 plus party in D&D. I agree with you. I had my first session at level 1 for my game last week, and first combat, 2 people went unconscious and like others were wounded. This was just some goblins, like 4 or 5 goblins, and my party of 5 was getting smashed. And then they ended up going against like a CR 1/4 hobgoblin, and the hobgoblins hit for 2d10 plus 2. Like they could just one shot everything. like a single hobgoblin. Now mind you, they only have 11 hit points, so like they can also go down like that, but if they hit you, they hit hard. Fun fact. Yeah, big dog, that makes sense. And Erilyn, yeah, but then again, that's kind of like, again, it comes down to the DM has to choose to not use the system to the best of its ability versus the system just has its own limitations, right? Well, yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying is like the D&D person has to make a mistake or actively choose to make something more difficult in that way, like ahead of time. I don't know. I don't think those are the same thing. Uh, limit of fear. Game masters only get 12. Okay. Yeah, I agree on the adversarial GM's part. Like the goal is that people aren't like that, but that can be tough, and people have to be dependable in that regard. What's up, WB? Amortos, I have not seen the Viva La Dirt League Daggerheart campaign. Candela's system was interesting, but it seemed to set up that the players would lose even when they succeeded. Level 1 is very dangerous. Yes, it is. I just they hit level 2 after they killed the first hobgoblin, basically. But they also, one guy's been knocked, I think, 3 times. Like we've played 2 sessions, and I'm pretty sure he's gone unconscious 3 times, at least twice. And then he was knocked on 1 HP once, like in a single swing, I think. Oh yeah, his DM screen where he has the skulls he puts on the little spikes. That is super cool. I love that for Matt in the Age of Umbra Sallowlands. I think that's super dope. My 3-person level 3 party is about to face 5 hob. 5 hobgoblins. That's 5 people who can hit for 22. I think they only have like a +3 to attack though. So like they're not going to hit every time, but they're also hard to hit, right? They have an 18 armor. Hobgoblin standard, I believe, is 18 armor class, 11 hit points, +3 to hit, but 2d10 damage. 2d10 +2. Well, yeah, Todd, that's where it goes from more of like the DM is the arbiter of the game versus the DM is like really choosing stuff. You know, where you're like, oh, they have to like choose to use this stuff responsibly versus just like in D&D it's like, oh, this monster is fair for you guys. It's up to you guys to be able to beat the thing and to do whatever versus like, well, let me just pull all of my punches. Let me be responsible in doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a very different thing. Barbarian and out of rages. Oh, you guys are gonna die. Like, I feel like you guys are gonna die unless you have some pretty powerful magical items and you guys are all like max HP. And I mean max is in like a level 3 barbarian as 36 plus con. Yeah, you guys are gonna die. Mr. Malicious says I bounced off Viva the Dirt League pretty hard. I sure hope they figured out how to respect the GM's time and effort to craft a story. I watched the Azrim game for a few episodes, but got too busy to keep up with it. I might give it another look. I still need to finish Candela season I started, but the final episode is 6 hours long. I'm going to have to break that up over several days. I feel that. Smart snacking. I bought a giant bag of pre-popped popcorn for tonight, so I don't have to wash pans and stand at the stove. Heck yeah. Easy clap. Pre-popped. What's typically more difficult in a particular challenge rating? One big monster or a lot of weak ones all equaling to the same CR? More challenging? Lots of weak ones. Pure action economy. I would think. I mean, there's going to be some things that it all depends on. Like the big solo one, excuse me, probably hits harder. But in terms of hit points, they're probably roughly the same. Depending on what you're adding up, could be leaning one way or the other. But yeah, lots of attacks, lots of action economy. Lots of D&D DMs pull punches early game, not professional studies, but home games. Yeah, I mean, in anything that can happen. Small monsters. I mean, yeah, I mean, it definitely, there. Well, that's what it is. It's a hard question to answer because it depends on multiple factors. Like if you have 2 wizards with fireballs, yeah, I mean, that's going to be able to wipe out, like, let's kick it up. Let's say it's a CR8 or a CR10 or whatever it is, you know, it would survive those and probably be okay and still get to take some turns. But if you split it down from CR8s to stuff that adds up to it, like 4 CR2s, well, they probably just died, you know? So there's a lot of factors that go into it, including, yes, are there, do you have AoE spells? How many, you know? Yeah. I pulled no punches, live and die by the sword. Yeah, when we started that combat and my players, you know, like they all rolled, like, again, I said this the other day, I think. My players did 1 point of damage in the first round of combat. 5 players did a singular point of damage, and the goblins hit 3 out of 5 times for like 15 points of damage total or something. So it was like they just you know, and I didn't pull punches. They still won. They came out on top, and I didn't like fudge anything. I didn't, but it was difficult. 2 players went down. Somebody else was wounded. So yeah, hope the back surgery stuff is all going well, Party Steve. Um, so here's a question for Age of Umbra Sallowlands. Do you guys think there will be a conflict at the Templars' place, the Tower of Oxidus, because of Mercy? Do we think there will be a conflict at the Tower of Oxidus? What do you think of the scar mechanic? Walk me through the scar mechanic. Is that the like you die, you get a scar? I'm thinking of the scar mechanic from Deathbringer. I'm guessing what you're talking about is different. I can't pull punches. I don't use the DM screen. I can do so. That is one of the benefits of when at the Saturday game that I play in, they don't use DM screens. So like when the DM rolls back-to-back crits and beats the crap out of you, you just look at the dice and you're just like, yeah, that happened. You know? So it says, yes, there will be conflict. It feels very likely. Yes, yep, I hope so. Yeppers. Already, the guy was basically like, you corrupted to him. Yeah, but he said no. And then Laura's character's sister was like, he's not. And then he said, cool, then let's go. But yeah, you guys are thinking that once they get back, even if young, what was his name? Templar Bowen? Young Templar Bowen's going to get back and say, no, I vouch for him. And they're going to go, you're an idiot, Bowen. And then there's going to be conflict. What's up, Toast? This is the town they are currently at. No, I don't think so. He was already welcomed by someone from the town. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I don't think it because of Mercy, but there will be conflict. Okay, so you don't think it's going to be the Mercy thing. You'd be thinking something else. Matt hinted in the cooldown that, I didn't watch the cooldown for this, that the guard they saved is going to have questions once the emotions settle. Fair enough. Scars from being KO change stats, low con and pro from them. Yeah, that's what. So I was watching Deathbringer, which is being made by Professor DM and Roll for Combat. I think it's on Backer Kit. They have a system for scars, but he described it as almost like you're incentivized to go down in combat because you get like talents. Like you gain abilities from going down, but once you gain like 3 scars, you're dead. So you can attempt to go down to get 1 free and then just hope you don't go down 2 more times. But it's a very like there's like almost no healing spells, there's no clerics, there's like that sort of thing. And that one, so like you're probably gonna die. Yes, conflict, but they will roleplay through it. The scars are also down option in Age of Umbra 2. That said, conflict is yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that like they come to blows, but like some sort of conflict, yeah. One of 3 choices they can pick from. One is the safe option where you just go unconscious. They roll their hope die. And if they hit their level or lower, in this case, wouldn't draw the hope die. They gain a scar which reduces their max hope by 1. Ooh. Interesting. Lowering your max hope has to suck. Oh yeah, no, not the Scar from campaign 4. Bowman is traumatized, then awestruck, his judgment will be questioned, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I mean, he's young as well. You know, like he's not. What did they say? He was like he looked like maybe 19, something like that. Every another system is deadly. Yeah, well, they're also like a thing in them. I think Deathbringers are like a class or something like that in his game. I watched a video on it like day before yesterday. Is this the first episode of no, that was last week. This is episode 2 tonight. Age of Umbra Sallowlands episode 2 is in about 47 minutes. Luckily for you, Damien, on my page, I have an 8.5 minute long video recapping episode 1. What's up, potato slices? I am doing okay. I am glad you love D&D. Same here, brother. Insta-crit, attack on a creature. Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of homebrew rules and like D&D and other systems for stuff like Blaze of Glory where you basically choose to be like, I am going to die, but I'm going to get you to do something really cool first. Serious Dice Vax set is already completely sold out. Really? I thought they were all... Did they finally like pop up as being able to be purchased? Because people kept asking, oh, they're sold out, they're sold out. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they're just not available yet. Yeah, they're all pre-orders. Back ordered is what it's showing. Pre-order, back order. Oh, sold out. Yeah, I see it. Vax. Yep. I see it. At the top there above it, it says sold out. I'll get to watch till later tonight. BFF night in a few. Have a great night. Love you good. Hey, appreciate it, Erlen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you enjoy it when you get to watch. And Age of Umbra episode 1 is only about 3.25 hours long if you want to catch it for next week. Very true. Yeah, I do love that they're all going to be around 3 hours. Yeah. So tonight I'm going to try to do, if I don't do all of it, I'm going to do most of it. And then tomorrow, if I don't finish it tonight, I'll do the rest of it and I'll get the recap out. And we'll see if it does any better with that. Imagine if, well, people have created stuff like that, Potato Slice. It's not my jam. But there are people who have done a lot of stuff and like taken Pokemon, Monster Hunter, Marvel, and like put them in Dungeons and Dragons. Mind you, there's a Marvel TTRPG system, so you don't have to do that. I think the way the bird was driven off by connecting with it will get called into question as if they're in league with it by the Templar leaders. Really? Huh. That would be interesting. I'm not sure I bite on that, but that would definitely be interesting if that is how it played out. I like the D&D mechanics the best, but I'm Dungeon Crawler Carl curious. I don't know anything about that system, but I know it's coming. Age of Umbra 2, I'm watching listening on Twitch replay. In regards to being an old man, Parody Steve says, I've been going to sleep around 10:30 Eastern since the surgery. Well, dang, dude. Bedtime's about an hour and 13. No Darrington account today. Nope. Hasn't popped in. Could also be that I'm not being shown or seen. All I did, I put Critical Role towards the front of my title instead of Age of Umbra, but I don't think that's why we've not gotten many views compared to the normal or last week. I think that it's just not as up there. I'd like to do Elder Scrolls in D&D. Yeah. I don't know if there's one out there already, like an Elder Scrolls MMO. But there might be. I think there's a World of Warcraft one. Called Deathbringer. I have no idea, Double. I think that idea earlier of C4 story so far, vids on individual characters, solid idea. Came for that if you like making them. I'll definitely be willing to give it a shot. I'll definitely be willing to give it a shot. That's right. Holy magic is very taboo. Travis's character hid his abilities for that reason. Kagwama could be at risk of that move with the bird. Well, they're totally different worlds. So, like, we don't really know, right? Like, if that is any way, like, remotely a connection. And I'm not even sure, did Tayor? Oh, wait. Are you talking about Travis's character in Age of Umbra 1? I always think you were talking about Tayor. But now I'm thinking you might be talking about Travis's character in Age of Umbra 1. And watch. Totally valid, Bakma. Yeah. Do your thing, brother. There's an official D&D Rick and Morty comic. Lots of... Oh, they've done a lot of it. And I think there's going to be more D&D crossovers. Do you think the next phase of Campaign 4 will go smoother as far as near deaths and more people per party? As in, like, there will be less danger? Because there will be more? Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be bolstered a little bit by having more people, and they've leveled up. So, yeah, I'm going to say yes. I have some thoughts for Elder Scrolls Dagger conversion, but haven't put them to paper. We'll get on it. And Umbra, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. I'll second the call for Campaign 4 character vids. I'm already getting fuzzy on the details of C4, and it's only been 3 weeks. Totally valid. Well, I'm also going to miss a week of this because I'm going to Gen Con. So the last Thursday of the month, I won't be here. If I could homebrew D&D Warlocks gain additional spell slot level 5 and again at level 14. Fighters get one more use of action surge level 13. See, but the thing is, like, do those things actually need it? Because a high level character is already so powerful. So the idea that a fighter, if they get an extra use, then is able to, they have 3 attacks at that level. So if you're saying that, that means on a singular turn they can take 9 attacks because they take 3, they action surge, they take 3, they action surge again, they take 3. Because action surge is a free action, unless you're going to say you could do it in the same turn, but that just means they take 6. The next turn they take 6 again. That's insane. I've been watching Worlds Beyond Numbers. Anyone else thinking Bria's character Sylvie is almost identical to her Campaign 4 character? I have not seen Worlds Beyond Numbers. I think the second arc of C4 is going to be a lot more dangerous because the Takonos will be on a rampage to track down the people responsible for what happened at the manor. As in, like, ratting them out and sort of stuff. Gene, yeah, I'm sure they will make it there. It's just going to be a while. They already went up on Beacon, I think. So I think one of the perks they updated with Beacon is that, like, you'll get the live shows within like a week or something. They'll go up on Beacon, but I don't know when they make their way to like YouTube. I'm curious though. Actually, never mind. I've been able to operate under the radar for the most part. It'll be harder and harder to do as time goes on. I agree with that. But then they'll also be open with their force of, 350 strong or whatever. Do we think Velas could lose her paladin powers because she is drifting away from Salandry? I think it's possible. I also think a lot of things were hinting towards that she might end up taking like multi-classing into druid or something like that, with all the like picking flowers and yada 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 is just like an idea. But I don't know that like she would suddenly lose all of her abilities and stuff. I don't think she would be like, oh well, now you suck. But I also feel like it's possible. Hope that Wiccan tyranny can be more subtle in how they go about things, or the powers that be are more likely to come down hard on the schemers. Yeah. Oathbreaker Valus. Yeah, well, that's where I was kind of leaning. Is like, I think that that could happen. Yeah, she could become like Oathbreaker of some kind. WB, valid point. It's not like Valus' goddess is giving her. That's true. That's true, guys. The paladin stuff clearly comes from elsewhere because the god's dead. So rid of the Oathbreaker. Well, remember, like if it's in 5e and it's not in 2024, they can just use the 5e version. Right? That's the whole thing with D&D, which it's kind of funny because they basically said this is one of the things that like, D&D, it's like, come on. They go, "Oh, it's all backwards compatible." Like if we didn't put the necromancer in the new thing, you can just play the old necromancer. It's backwards compatible. Oh, by the way, here's a new book with a necromancer in it. But if it's backward, like if we can. Technically, a paladin's powers come from their oath. Yeah, because of all this, modern 5e stuff. Back in my day, we had that conversation last week, I think, about paladins. Has anybody noticed anything with like my camera being different or anything? I changed a bunch of settings on it, trying to make it look better and smoother and all that sort of jazz. Basically, I turned on autofocus and lowered like the ISO and did something else. We're gonna be able to see the lives on YouTube. Well, that's what I answered. Is I know it's already on Beacon because they said like we'll get it up on Beacon within like 7 days or something. But I don't know when it would appear on YouTube. I'm assuming it will go on YouTube. I think other live shows have gone on YouTube eventually, but I don't know when. Like I don't know if they wait a month. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what their plan is when it comes to that. Less laggy for sure. Oh, really? Was it normally laggy? I didn't know that. And I can hold stuff up to it and it'll focus. Whereas before, I always had to reach up and start turning the knob to focus. There was a reason I did that. Like at some point, I thought it would be better. And then now I swapped it off. So I'll draw from the oath. That's also valid. Lemon, but that's just like, that's more of a mechanics thing than anything else, to be fair. Right? Like, same thing where people are like super against the fact that warlocks don't choose their patronage level because they made all subclasses at level 3 in 2024. So people are like, it doesn't make sense because how would we be able to do this? And we do, that sort of thing. So I'm honestly not sure where Ashley is going with Vegas. Feels kind of all over with Little Yash in there. I'm not gonna lie, camera looks great. Maybe too good now. What? Oh, you see all my blemishes? Because I've been eating too much sugar, guys. That's why I'm got red. Too much sugar. It'll go away. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, like I said, I wrote out all my notes for my tier list, and I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I definitely talk about Valus in that. Um, so I have it all. It's all. I'm looking at it right now. So I might do that. To what depends. It'll either come out Saturday or Friday or Saturday, depending on if I watch Age of Umbra in time to get the recap out. Because I don't want to do like a recap and that probably in the same day. But I'll do my my video soon. Motivations, if you mean she's good to call people and perceive slights, and yes, similar to his backstory was a driving force. I'm honestly not sure. Oh, I already read that. I barely look at camera on these. Wow, David, you're supposed to stare at me the whole time. God. You look more shaded and less shiny. Maybe that's just from having played Soccer God into fistfights. Maybe. Well, I lowered the ISO, so now like it's darker in general. But I have a umbrella light over here now. It's more of a studio space. There's a green screen right here. There's that light there, and then I have the ring light and the camera. I moved my monitors over here, so I'm also not turning this way. But yeah. More like a lounge bar. Well, I think it's also because though these lights over here used to be right up next to me, so they put like a blue glow on my face. Now they're further away. Because again, the room got rearranged, so being done. This wall back here is more open, I think, than it was before. But I'll change that. If I forgot about that, ancestors don't materialize until level 3. I don't think that sounds right. Well, it's just in general that all subclasses happen at level 3 now to make everything easy. But yeah. Trishka was probably not dead or something, or did he get it from Stereo? So definitely with the cracked mask and all that, it seemed like that was a possibility. But then when Belair's sister Terminus was asked, like, "Oh, is she dead?" She was like, "Oh, I know she's dead." So maybe your one is actually dead. Fun random question for you, Nerdcore. If Wizards of the Coast told you that you could permanently remove one rule from the official D&D rulebook and add one, what would they be? Oh my god. I definitely have stuff. Nothing is coming to my mind right now. But there's some stuff where I'm like, oh, that's stupid. And then some things that at 2014 I would have changed, like the healing potion rules. They actually did change that. They actually did change that. So I don't know. Is there a delay? Because every time the live feed ends, it cuts off as you're signing out, or is it just me on mobile? It might be that I click the end stream button on my end before I complete the kid. There's a natural delay, but it's not, we're talking like a couple of seconds, maybe 5 seconds or something. So it could just be that I end here, but then I also click end stream on YouTube before it's played all the way through. So I could try to let it go all the way through. Pull for we did one of those in the past. I might do one of those. So yeah. Seemed that you could use some more light. Okay. I could also just turn the ISO up. I don't mind, like, to me it's not bad, but I could try to turn the ISO on the camera up at some point. For light. Also, when I'm close, it's better. I mean, when I lean back, it's a lot darker, but when I'm like up, I don't think this is bad. I can also wing this thing, dude. I can just turn that, hit this light. Get a little shadow on the face, you know? Yeah, don't forget to thumbs up the video. Very curious about the C4 tier list. Well, I did one after all the arcs. So really this one is just being updated from then to the convergence, post convergence. Yeah, I just, in terms of lights, I have a ring light directly in front of me, and then I have an umbrella light right here. So I don't, yeah, I mean, I could add another umbrella light or a stronger box light or something, but we'll see. I'd go back to the original Lucky Feet. It was very good. Wouldn't do it today. Oh, I'm definitely not doing it today. Yeah, if I did another one. But I probably should have done it before I post my tier list. But I don't want to delay it, so I'm going to do my tier list. Like in multi-class and a warlock. I don't know because didn't Belair said he's his patron, so that doesn't mean that all the other masks are warlocks and are their own patrons, you know? Yeah, I mean when I lean back, it goes a little dark. So if I stay up, it's probably a little bit better. But I don't want to be leaned forward the whole time either. So was anyone disappointed by Thimmel's reaction to Tayor's death? In what way? I mean, they didn't know each other like that long, right? Like they met at the funeral. If they even talked then. Well, no, he was one of the people who went there when they rescued her. But I don't know if they knew each other. Well, were they in the war together? Falconer's Rebellion. So I guess they did have that. I don't know. Either way, it didn't feel like they were like exceptionally close. Like they started to talk and stuff during the soldiers, but I was way more disappointed by Valus not reacting to Hanon's death than I was Thimble's reaction to Tayor's. And she did go back to try to save him. That's valid. That is valid. So a lot of people think there will be confrontation with Sallowlands tonight when they take into the Tower of Oxidus with the Templars. With how fast they've been moving through the different areas, I imagine they'll also get to the Sparkly City as well. However, then maybe the Templars will tell them about it and be like, yo, like, yeah, the Sparkly City is dangerous, right? Because that certainly can't be the destination, because if it is, why wouldn't these other people have gone there? Yeah, it didn't feel super off to me. In regards to the masks, Piratey Steve says, who the heck created them? Someone, something, you wanted the Shapers gone, but what exactly? The halflings, similar to like each of the humanoid races or whatever, made the things that killed the gods. So the halflings made them. The sparkly city of Oz, exactly. So they'll be. What if that's what happens? What if they get to the Templars and they're like, yeah, there's like a powerful wizard there who grants wishes, and he's whatever, and it's literally they're just in a dark wizard of Oz. That'd be kind of crazy, huh? I do feel like Kanan's death has killed the only spark we had of making Velos interesting. Harsh, I know. I don't think it's that harsh. I don't think it's that harsh. I think it's valid that like she was great in the overture. She fell off big time. She started to have something going with Hannon. Hannon dies. She reacts zero, and that was it. So I'm wondering if the city is some kind of magical mirage. Oh, that would be interesting. They go to the Tower of Oxidus, and then they tell them like it's a yeah. No, I think that'd be dope. We'll talk about Hannah's death when they come back. She had time doing the last episode, but maybe she just felt there were too many things going on. She wanted more time. Maybe because yeah, that's when people was like, oh well, you know, she didn't get it, and it's like there was 3 hours of game time. She had all the time in the world to do something, and she just didn't. I still think Vela's playing closed off sad off perfectly fine. The lack of reaction is reaction if you put yourself in her shoes. Yeah, but she didn't even like. I'm not saying she has to like shout and fight and cry to some other character. Although I think she probably would with like Taisha or something. But even if she herself described Valus, like, you know, kind of gave like a we're a camera watching, and we see Valus or like her saying that Valus is like thinking these things in her head as she's going through these emotions, like a look behind the curtain, um, I would have been down for versus literally nothing. So hazard levels. Uh, yeah, I there was a warning on my phone that said, and I'm in Virginia towards the coast, and it says air quality alert right here on my phone. Since you have a moment for Hannon. Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope so. And I agree. I do think it'll happen, but I think it's really silly it didn't happen in that episode. Had 3 more hours to react to the person that you just got the closest with, who agreed to go save your family with you, who all this stuff you guys have bonded over and gone through in this last whatever. And then you could have gone with him. You didn't. He died. So there could be shame. There could be guilt. There could be all of this, you know, and then it's just like, I'm not going to do any of that. No bueno. If the city is safe and cozy, why would anyone go back out into the Umbra to spread the rumors? True. True. Cadigan had the most gut wrenching reaction, in my opinion. I'm sure Bayless will give something in cold open. I do. We'll get something from Bayless eventually, but I didn't love that personally. Talked about it plenty of times on the streams, but I didn't love that we got literally nothing across 3 hours of that. All right. Well, we are coming to the end of this couple minutes. Better late than never. Hope you're all good. What's up, Gorbash? Yeah, you are arriving once again right towards the end. There's about 4 minutes left before we end this. Um, but we've got a couple more weeks of Sallowlands, and then there's an off week. So there's this week, 4 more weeks of Age of Umbra Sallowlands, then an off week, and then we return to Campaign 4. And as I said, I will do another recap for this second episode, and depending on how it does, since I'm going to get it out earlier, we'll determine if we do more. enjoying Umbra so far. I don't watch every week, but I know you previously mentioned to be more into D&D. Um, it's only one episode, Null the Bear, so it's been cool. Um, I like some of the characters. Admittedly, again, I'm not overly familiar with um Daggerheart, so there's still some things I've tried to figure out and learn and kind of like, there's some friction there, but the characters are really cool. The monsters, the NPCs already, like the enemies, like the bounty hunter and his crew and the bird, all really cool stuff, but it also felt like the combats felt more like a show than a combat, if that makes sense, which throws me off a little bit. But yeah, it's been solid. I'm gonna keep watching it. Yeah, Mercy is fantastic. We talked about that earlier, Jay. I don't know if you're here, but I basically was like, "Who's everybody's favorite character?" And it was like 90% Mercy, and then a couple people said Alphonse. One person I think said Dilwyn. I think that was it. They did not do the tailgate, Steven, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, they didn't do a tailgate after that. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I didn't love it though. To be fair, like it felt like none of the combats really ended. Like everything was a runaway. They ran away, they escaped, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It was a little odd, the combat portions. Some of the descriptions were cool, right? Like of people doing stuff was great, but it also just felt like there wasn't like good conclusions to the combats. Mercy, I agree, Chloe. Mercy has been fan freaking tastic. Big fan of Mercy. Also, welcome to the stream, Chloe. They go full schemers, Seeker's table arcs after the one episode. Oh wait, I missed first part. I don't suppose they've said which table will be featured one yet. Might be smart to have Taichi to open schemers to do some follow-ups to episode 31. Stuff till break, then the Seekers. Then go full schemers. Yeah, we could see a split for the first one back. That's totally valid, Narvelin. Yeah. The runaway is too safe from death, I think, because so easy to die in Matt's runner. No, so I totally get it. It just feels different in this. So it's Chloe, for instance, like that style of play of like avoid combat is old school D&D. Like old school D&D, because you actually didn't level up from fighting and killing monsters. It was you, like every one gold piece was an experience point. So the goal was to get into dungeons or tombs or whatever it is, and get the loot and the gold and get out without fighting stuff. And so I definitely get the world's so dangerous. Like the goal is to not fight stuff. But then when you actually are fighting stuff, like they weren't the ones who ran the last two. Like they avoided the fight in the forest. They avoided the but then it's like, what's his face ran away. Like the bounty hunter and his guy ran away, which I get, they're people in the world and they want to survive. And then the bird got, kind of altered in a way that it decided to fly away. So it just, again, there hasn't been like a conclusion to a fight. It's been a lot of like, all right, until next time, and like kind of going. They were just dipping. Yeah, everybody was just dipping out. Yeah, the NPCs ran. Yeah. Have you thought of live viewers' name? Was it something about nerds? Oh, were we saying like, what do we call my community? Yeah, it was like nerds or nerdlings. People were coming up. There hasn't been an official one, but yeah, we did think about that. It has a great DM player action balance, but is not so great at balancing among players. Like they run up to each other a lot. Yeah, we talked about that with all the initiative stuff earlier. Seeing disagree. Yeah, sounds good, guys. I am gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys for hanging out. Appreciate it. Again, look for my recap. I'll try to get it out sooner rather than later this time. If you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. Join the Discord. We have an Age of Umbra channel. Discord is linked in the description on YouTube, in my bio on TikTok, Twitch, whatever. Join the Discord. It's an Age of Umbra channel. Make sure you select actual plays and chat with us while we watch it, talk about what happened, stuff like that. So jump in there. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Enjoy.